Okay, unfortunately I had to start that over. As I was saying, for some reason, YouTube keeps unsubscribing people. We've lost 2 subscribers in the last week. So, I don't know. Hang on. I think our stuff is here. Okay, sorry guys. I ordered some stuff from Meijer on Instacart because we needed it. Water, paper towels, that kind of thing. Yeah, so I don't know. I know people can unsubscribe themselves, but I don't see it happening because most people don't really pay attention to their subscriptions on YouTube as far as, like really going through, like I have a lot of subscriptions on YouTube. I don't flip through them very much. I watch some videos here and there, and I save the ones to my playlists that I want to save. But most people don't care that much to where they're going to go through and unsubscribe. So, and yes, I've done a few devotional videos. I'm not going to apologize for that, but I don't think that's the problem. It's YouTube. Because they do it to a lot of other homesteading channels as well. So, always check your subscriptions, you guys. Make sure you're subscribed. Like, always check your homesteading subscriptions. When a video pops up, at least look at the subscribe and see if you're still subscribed. If you don't have time to watch the video, at least check that. Alright. So, here we go. This one, I was going to do a different one, and it turned out to be something completely stupid. So, anyway, it was like this much on the topic, and then it went to all these little different things that could be individual separate videos, so I'm not doing that right now. Alright, 151 ways to start a homestead, even with no land or money. You want to start a homestead, but you have no land and no money. Well, it might seem impossible. You really can start homesteading today with any one of the 151 ideas in this video. This article. It's important to remember homesteading is a way of life, and you can start living the homesteading lifestyle today, no matter what your situation is. When my husband and I first decided to start homesteading, to say we were discouraged was an understatement. We did not have it in the budget to buy land, and it was not like we could quit our jobs to focus on homesteading full-time. The good news, we found out that even living in a place I would consider to be suburbia hell, we were able to successfully start our homesteading journey. What really opened up our eyes was to see as many people successfully start homesteading in a similar situation. We didn't have to wait for land or money. In fact, there are things you can start doing right now to start homesteading, no matter where you are. Remember that. No matter where you are. I've said that before. You can even successfully do a lot of these homesteading activities in an urban neighborhood, city apartment, or even while you travel the country in an RV. There are no limits to the many things you can do to start your homesteading journey today. Why you should start homesteading now? Yes, today. One of those reasons is because we're living in the time frame when we could very well be looking at a grid down situation. And there are going to be a lot of people that are not going to know what to do. If you do your research and start getting the necessary materials and things right now to cover you in that situation, to make it to where you can survive, to where you have food, you have water, and you start using that knowledge even beforehand and get used to it, then it's not going to be that big of a shock. There'll still be adjustments, yes, but you will be able to adjust. That's the difference. It's easy to feel overwhelmed as a beginner. when you first start homesteading. You might be overly excited and want to try to do everything. I know that was the case for me. Yeah, it still is. But it's best to start slow and to start small. Probably still won't. A lot of planning and preparation can go a very long way. The number one reason you should start homesteading now, even if the conditions aren't ideal, it will help you know where to prioritize your focus and help you build the necessary skills and experience. And that's exactly what I was saying. Here's why you should start homesteading right now, today. You can work now to develop skills that can serve you well for a lifetime and that can be passed on to generations to come. That was number one. Number two, many homesteading activities can be done anywhere and will help you save money so your dream of getting land can become a reality. It takes time to learn new things. Number three, it takes time to learn new things. Starting your research, remember I keep saying, do your research. Do your research, you guys. And learning now will help you gain experience and avoid mistakes later down the road. Number four, you can use this time to start building connections to new friends who can help you on your homesteading journey. And that was 4 things that actually is before they even get into the 150. So even if you are living in a city apartment or a townhouse in the suburbs, you can start doing a lot of fun homesteading activities. You can do most of the things we've listed here anywhere, many even while traveling. Here's 150 things you can do to start homesteading even without land or money. If you're ready to get started with homesteading today, these 150 ideas for things you can do will keep you plenty busy and help you move closer towards your goal of having a homestead. Of course, you certainly can't do all of these in one day or even a week, but all of these things, when done over time, will help you make some big changes in your life that will help your dreams of homesteading become all the more real. Number 1, know why you want to homestead so you can find your focus. Knowing why you want to homestead and what interests you most about homesteading is very important. This can allow you to focus on what matters most and prioritize where to start. It's a lot easier. Give me it. Because I can use it for something other than liquid. I already know it's not dry, so. It's a lot easier to start homesteading when you have some focus in the beginning. For example, if one of the reasons you want to homestead is so you can grow your own fresh organic produce, then you might want to prioritize on learning how to grow an organic garden or how to start preserving food at home. See, I have some knowledge in both of those areas because I've grown organic food here at home. And I've preserved our own food. So, if your goals are to leave less of an impact on the environment, then you perhaps you might start with learning about renewable energy sources and how to go green in your current home. Maybe your priorities are to teach your kids about the lifestyle and to be self-reliant. There are a lot of activities and clubs you could join that would be great for kids to learn some homesteading and some community building skills. Make a list today of all the things you want to do and why you want to do them. Once you have everything written down in a list, try numbering which things are most important to you. That's where you start. So with us, it's healthy food, knowing how it was grown, knowing what's in it, knowing what's in our dishes and in our vegetables, our produce, because we're growing it. That's a big reason right there. Now with your animals and even your eggs, you have chickens and you know what you're feeding them, especially if you grow a certain portion or most of or all of their food, you know what they're eating. So you know what's in those eggs. You know they're going to be healthy. They free range. You know what they're eating. You know exactly what they're eating. You know those eggs are not going to be full of chemicals and artificial colors to make them appear healthy. That works for you, for your family. Those eggs, go check out Off Grid with Doug and Stacy's channel. They have a lot of very valuable information, and they will even talk about how farm fresh eggs, they are a superfood, you guys. They are packed full of so much nutrition. You can live on just those. And no, they're not going to kill you from too much cholesterol. That is a lie. Go check out Doug and Stacy's channel. Use that for a shout out to Doug and Stacy's channel. And also on gardening, if you want a lot of really, 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 really helpful tips on how to grow a really, really, really valuable and very productive garden, even food forest, and I'm kind of leaning towards that, so I'm gonna have to start rewatching his videos. But it's James Prigioni in the gardening channel, and I still support his channel, and he's done shout outs to our channel a few different times, at least 3 or 4. I haven't watched any of his videos in a long time, so. But check out both of those channels. You know, that's a shout out right now to both of those channels. Off Grid with Doug and Stacy, and they have so much valuable information. And they have over 1,500 videos that are chocked full of information. And they've been homesteading off grid for over 16 years now. So they have a lot of valuable information. And so does James Prigioni. He knows his gardening stuff. So there you go. All right. Number 2, make a budget and stick to it. We knew that in order for us to make our dream of owning our own land for homesteading a reality, we needed to get our finances in order. Working on it. But we're going to have to pull our homestead in with it because look at the world and what's going on. This meant taking a good hard look at our current financial situation so we could become debt-free and get on a budget that would help us finally be able to afford land. Well, we're working on getting the jobs. Scott has one, Chloe has one, Aaron has one, me and Mandy still, I'm still looking. I'm actually leaning towards online. I'm also starting to work on the homestead businesses. A few days ago, I worked almost all day on the Faith First Farmer Homestead Planner. So, it's a work in progress, and it takes a while, so. Number 3, sell, donate, recycle, and repurpose stuff you don't need or use. Well, we're doing that anyway because we're having to clean out my mom and dad's house. For us, homesteading meant living a simpler life. When we first started, we realized we had a lot of things that didn't exactly match up with that lifestyle. And I'm realizing that, and I'm going through and trying to change all of that, so. By cleaning out our garage and basement, we were able to free up a lot of space that could be put to good use for things that supported the homesteading lifestyle. For example, we made enough room in our garage for my husband to use the space for woodworking. And I'm going to try to make sure that we have a workshop area also where Chloe can work on her wood burning. I mean, she might turn a room like that into, out of our house, our new house, into that. I'm actually going to recheck out my grid and see if we can build a workshop and create an area in there for her. We've also had a lot of fun repurposing different things around the house for gardening, storage, and more. Selling unused items for cash is also a great idea. This cash can be used for things you want to invest in for homesteading, such as tools and equipment for the garden or kitchen. Number 4, start an herb garden. Okay, well, see, I'm going to have to get a whole bunch more seeds. Because I need to replace all my seeds now. So, a little bit at a time. I'm going to, as much as I don't want to, I'm going to have to put myself on a budget of ordering a certain number of seeds, a certain number of packages every week. Every week. But don't worry, every time we get a package of seeds, I'll do a video and show you guys. Alright, how to grow a windowsill kitchen herb garden. Okay, that was weird. There's supposed to be a picture there, and it's not. Herbs are easy to grow and can be grown anywhere, even indoors. It is easy to learn how to start an herb garden, and there are even many herb gardening kits that have everything you need. Some of my favorite herbs to grow are mint, basil, lavender, cilantro, chives, dill, oregano, and lemon balm. And I'm definitely putting in chives because those fresh chives that we got down in Oklahoma, those were awesome. And I want to be able to do that again. So there's so many choices, and most of these will grow just fine indoors and in any climate. Number 5, research your local zoning laws. You might be surprised to learn what you are allowed and not allowed to do when you learn your local zoning laws. It can also be a great way to band together with like-minded people in your community. For example, a group of people where I live recently came together to petition the township to allow chickens. Well, we don't have to worry about that because we're in the country, so. Now with us, I'm going to start researching getting more in depth on researching off-grid laws and building, off-grid building laws and that kind of thing, so. Number 6, and here we go, read homesteading books and magazines. And this is why I'm trying to get this information out here, you guys, because some people are better suited to watching and listening to videos. So here we go, homesteading information. That's why it makes me so angry when YouTube unsubscribes people. Because those people are going to miss out on that information. There are a lot of great books and magazines about homesteading. Many can be found at the library. Go to Amazon. $20. Not even. A lot of them are less than that. You may also want to check to see if there are any used book sales near you. Used book sales can be a great way to get a cheap education. I loaded up with a whole bag of all sorts of great gardening books the last time I went to the library's used book sale for just $5. That is actually true. Libraries will do book sales and that kind of thing, and you can get some great gardening books and homesteading books and stuff like that from those. So, need some recommendations for your homesteading reading list? Okay. And I also have my homestead books section, which I've done a few off from there, and I'll do some more out of there because I've added to it. So, number 7, visit a farm. Many farms have open tours where you can visit the farm to see a behind-the-scenes look. Some even have pick your own crops or livestock you can pet. This is a great way to get a break from the city life if you are craving country life and unable to have these things yet. You will also be sure to learn a lot from the trip. Number 8, learn how to sew. Whether you learn how to sew by hand or practice sewing on a sewing machine, knowing how to sew can be very helpful when homesteading. While many people think of sewing as women's work, many men enjoy sewing as well. It never hurts to know a few basic skills like how to repair rips and tears or to sew a button back on. If you already know how to sew, why not sew some things that might be useful for your homesteading journey? For example, you could sew blankets and clothes, dish towels, totes, bags, and more. Number 9, farm sit for a friend. Last summer, a friend needed someone to watch the chickens for a few days while they were out of town. We'd been wanting chickens for ourselves for a while, but our zoning laws at the time did not permit them. So we happily volunteered. It was a great way to see what it would be like if we had chickens of our own. You can often meet people in different local community groups on Facebook, or you can always look for posts on Craigslist or ask around your local areas for ideas. There is always someone who is happy for a helping hand around the farm. Number 10, go camping. You can learn a lot about roughing it and connecting to nature when you go camping. Whether you borrow a tent or camp in a cabin for the weekend, it's a great way to practice survival skills, go for a relaxing walk in the woods, and get back to the simple life. Hang on, guys. I need a drink. Might be. Alright, number 11. Visit and or volunteer at a colonial festival. When my dad started making buckets and rope at colonial fairs over a decade ago, pretty soon our whole family was literally roped in.
Oh, gosh.
It's actually on here. To volunteering at local colonial festivals and events each and every year. These events are a lot of fun and a great way to learn new skills that can help you be sustainable. From gardening to spinning to woodworking, you can learn a lot from the demonstrators.
I don't see anything yet.
Number 12, visit a farmer's market. Most areas have farmer's markets in the summer months. When I visited New York City a few years ago in September, I remember there being quite a few events happening that offered farm fresh produce and more. Not only do farmers markets give you fresh and healthy foods for a great price, you will be helping support another farmer in your community. Yeah, guys.
Had scratches on his arm. Could be his skin and Lucas's fingernails.
Let me guess. We're not a refusal for DNA.
It should be here pretty soon.
Okay.
Come on, Mac, you gotta admit this is close to an elephant before.
Sorry, I have another Instacart order coming from
Mac.
Sorry, it's just that everything's here. Eric's one.
Instacart.
We found Lucas nearly nude. Where he was put in the box where it's custom.
Alright, sorry guys. Not trying to create dead space. Number 13. Learn how to start canning your own food. Which I've done that, and the next time I do that, I will do a video to show, exactly how I do it, how I've learned, and, I'll pass that on. So, plus, I might, if we get together with our church, with the women in our church, if we do a how-to canning thing, I don't know, I might talk to them and see if they would allow me to do a video for the channel. So, we'll see on that one. Preserving your own food is fun and easy, and you don't even necessarily need a whole garden of food to get started. If you visited the farmer's market, you can learn how to preserve these goodies, no farm required. Canning foods at home is easy to do and gives you a lot of options to enjoy your favorite foods inexpensively year-round. You might also want to look into ways to make your fresh produce last longer. There are a lot of ways to make those fresh fruits and veggies last for a while. Number 14, learn and practice first aid. I have a first aid book upstairs, and it's actually still there. Big shock, no one cares about the books in the house. Knowing basic first aid and CPR is a wise decision for everyone, not just homesteaders, and that is true. It's actually a really great idea to get first aid and CPR certified. I used to be. It's just been a long time. So, check with your local medical centers and county health departments to see if they offer any basic first aid training courses. We all hope we don't need to know these things, but it sure gives you a lot of peace of mind when you know that you do know what to do. Blah, blah, blah. Accidents can happen, so it's always good to be prepared. Plus, go to offroadwithdouganstacy.com and check out their herbal stitches that they've got on there, and I do plan on getting some. And if you want an explanation, watch their recent videos, especially their recent live shows. Now is also a great time to stock up on your own first aid kit at home. Okay, now for us, and we haven't even started doing that. For us, that's going to include like bandages, that kind of thing. Stuff that's not as easy to make on your own.
Pulled the wool fiber off the hand grip of that dolly, also fumed it.
But a lot of the medicines, we're going to home make those. You can even home make Neosporin, okay? And I might just look that up and do that, do one of those videos here one of these times soon. But that's on my Homestead herbal medicine section. All right.
Oh, it looks thick enough. What is this?
Do you have all the supplies you might need? Does anything need to be restocked? Number 15. Start a homesteading planner and binder. I wish I could. I really want to find my black binder. My new one I started got left in Oklahoma. I'm really, really, really hoping to find my black one that I started here. That should have been in the trailer, but it's not. So, hoping I run into it somewhere here in the house. Because if I do, then I have all that information I started with and started to write down. And I've got to prioritize my time somehow because I've got to have time to get all this information down. Plus, I've also got, all the books that I bought so far too. So, all right. My husband and I aren't even old by any means yet, and already we are well aware of the limitations of our memory. Having a planner and record-keeping binder is a great way to stay organized, focused, and keep track of everything. Now, the planner and the journal and that kind of thing, that's the reason why we're putting one together, to sell, to make available to other people, because it's going to be a great way to keep track of literally everything. And this is going to have absolutely everything in it, okay? From gardening to animals, like all of the animals, keeping track of all of your livestock, like the whole 9 yards. Everything, okay? It's another reason why it's going to be so expensive. And I apologize for that, but I'm also going to be printing it myself. So. Yeah. You can see how I organized my homesteading planner, and yes, we even have some handy free printables you can use to start your own. I might actually do that, make some printables available. Maybe, I don't know. It's gonna depend. I don't know. If you don't want an elaborate or fancy planner, that is perfectly okay too. Just make sure you start writing stuff down somewhere and keep it in a safe place. It's a great idea to have a grid notebook, with the graph paper, because it makes a great way to draw out your diagrams and schematics for your homestead. And then, just get a binder and divider tabs and filler paper and just go to town. Start writing stuff down. Draw out your garden beds. Keep it all in there. Or, buy folders. Put stuff in folders. Put the folders in a ring binder. There's a million ways you can do it. So, a simple composition notebook will work just fine. Even if you just keep a basic log of different activities or expenses, you will be able to look back and know exactly what you did and how you did it. And that's important. Number 16, simplify your schedule and learn how to say no. We learned a long time ago that being too busy is just not for us. I used to be involved in a number of different things and activities, but a lot of these things involved a much bigger time commitment than I could give with my goals for starting a homestead. My biggest problem? I was often saying yes to things I shouldn't have. It's not that I don't like to help people, but many times I would find myself stressing out to do things. The stress was not worth it. I also realized that while there are a lot of things I can do for fun, I can't do everything all at once. Not possible. Could you imagine? Sometimes you will have to take a break from certain activities and events so you can really focus on what you do want. Learn how to say no when necessary, especially if responsibilities and commitments seem to be distracting you from what you really want to do with your life. Number 17, start exercising and getting in shape. Working on that, and I'm actually losing some weight, you guys. This shirt is a large. And yes, it's old, but it's not really stretched out. And it fits pretty well. And the jeans that I'm wearing are my size 14s. And they fit pretty good right now. So, working on it. It's hard to believe that only 2 years ago I weighed 50 pounds more than I do now. I had very little energy and often did not feel very good. But I made a commitment to start being more active and eating better. Within 6 months, I lost over 50 pounds just by making better choices. Food choices, drinking a lot of water, getting my health in check, and staying active. I took my dog for daily walks, went kayaking with our kids, and did tons of hard physical labor, helping my husband with different tasks around our house. Eating well and living an active lifestyle can make all the difference. You don't have to do anything drastic either. Just start by just taking a walk around your neighborhood or park each day. Choose fresh veggies and fruits and foods made from scratch over processed foods. Processed foods will get you every time. Cut down on sugar and milk. These little things can really help you have more energy and feel a lot more fit for homesteading. Number 18. Make some like-minded friends and be active in the community. Having like-minded homesteading friends is always a very good idea. Otherwise, you will likely only meet people who will try to talk you out of it or think you are crazy or distract you from your dreams. Good friends and family members will support you for what you want to do, no matter how different or crazy it may seem. The other advantage of good friends, you can help each other. It's good to know you can call a friend or neighbor up if you need help. You can borrow things from each other as needed. While homesteading is often about self-reliance, no person is an island. You need some community. One of the easiest ways to make some new friends, is to go to local events and classes near you. For example, there are many gardening clubs and classes, and this can even be a great way to trade plants and seeds. And this is what I want to try to do through our church as well, is to get kind of this group thing going. So,
Nose was broken at least twice.
Lita filed 3 domestic violence reports against you.
I couldn't catch a girl like Lita if I get her. College educated, pretty, and a beggar to marry me.
But a woman like Lita doesn't stay with a guy like you, so you knock her around a little bit, make her afraid to leave.
She was my wife.
But if you couldn't have her, no one else could, right?
I didn't kill her. I haven't seen her in weeks.
All right, then the fingerprints I lifted from the doorknob in the apartment won't match yours?
okay, number 19, start composting. We always thought composting was not something we could do easily at our house in the suburbs. Boy, was I ever wrong. You don't need a giant compost bin or any elaborate system. I was able to get started with a small garden container and my coffee grounds each morning. Within a month or so, I had a nice bit of rich compost to use in my gardening. This was great because it saved me on needing to buy a lot of potting soil. Eventually, you can start creating a larger compost pile, and if you are in the suburbs, you can likely even ask your neighbors if you can have some of their grass clippings.
Breathe. Okay.
Number 20, borrow, barter, and trade for things you need instead of buying them.
Talk it out.
One of the reasons we've been able to survive as well as we have on a limited budget is that we often barter and trade for different things, no cash required. Borrowing stuff from others is usually not a big deal as long as you are able to take care of it and return it in a timely manner. There are also many community lending libraries now that allow neighbors to share and borrow equipment. Number 21, get cooking. Something that has really benefited our family is cooking more from scratch, and I'm trying to get back into that as well. Not only are we eating healthier and saving money, but it is becoming a fun activity we enjoy together. However, I was not a very good cook when I first started cooking. Most of everything I made turned out as a disaster. Now is a great time to start. Now is a great time to start learning how to cook and brush up on your cooking skills. You can learn a lot simply by spending time with people who do like to cook. And of course, the best way to learn is practice and experience. Number 22. Learn to identify edible plants in the wild and forage for food. Last year I was trying to identify some rogue weeds in my lawn, only to discover these plants were completely edible and healthy for us. Thanks to a friend, I learned that those purple violets in my yard not only were edible, they were a great source of vitamin C and made for a fantastic fresh salad. No, be sure if you are eating wild plants from your yard that you do not spray the area with any pesticides or chemicals. That'd be bad. You'd be surprised how many edible foods we have growing in our own backyards. It is very important to learn how to identify the plants, however. You would not want to mistake an edible plant with a poisonous one.
Yeah.
Check with your local state parks. Oftentimes they will have special hikes and classes to share with groups on how to find foods that are safe to eat in the woods growing wild and naturally.
Look, it says bruises.
Number 23. Learn about different herbs and their uses. When you start identifying plants, you are sure to be curious about their different uses. I am by no means an expert herbalist, but I am always learning more and more about the different plants and their many benefits. For example, the echinacea plant has many herbal uses. Many plants can be used for home medicinal use and culinary use. Herbal remedies have been used to treat common ailments for thousands of years. No prescription necessary. And they're better for you because they're not made out of poisonous ingredients. Several beneficial plants can be grown pretty much anywhere. For example, you can learn how to grow aloe vera indoors very easily. My grandma had one. And that's going to be something else I'm going to get several of. It's very nice to be familiar with the different plants and what they are used for, especially if you are growing any of them. I know after a hard day, I can have a nice cup of chamomile and catnip tea and feel completely relaxed. I've also really enjoyed learning about bitter herbs and their many uses. It is important to use caution, care, and common sense when learning about herbal remedies, and of course to know when to seek real professional medical help if something is out of your scope, especially with kids and anyone with an existing medical condition. If you're interested in getting started with learning herbs and different herbal remedies, you can find a lot of great info on a lot of YouTube channels, Pinterest, whatever. Number 24. Don't buy anything you can't afford. I still have a problem with that. On the day I got serious about starting our homestead, I stopped using all of my credit cards. I don't have any of those. I knew that in order for us to get really serious about getting our homestead, we would have to get out of debt. Buying stuff on credit cards was not going to solve our problems. I decided I would only buy things if I had the means to pay for it up front. If I didn't have the way to pay for it up front, I would simply have to wait until I did. This helped by reducing the amount put on credit cards. We had some bills that were paid online through credit cards. I changed these to be paid through debit cards only. Number 25. Make your own cleaning products. They're a lot healthier, I know that. Even if you live in an apartment, you can benefit from using all natural cleaners you make yourself. Using things like vinegar and baking soda not only is often more effective than a lot of commercial cleaners, it can save you money and does not have all the toxic chemicals, and that's the best benefit yet. Number 26. Learn how to drive a manual transmission stick shift car. Okay, that I draw the line. That's not going to happen. There are a lot of benefits to knowing how to drive a stick shift car with a manual transmission. First of all, cars with manual transmissions are generally a lot less expensive. Second of all, you'll be able to easily move on to driving a tractor when the time comes. Well, we're not planning on having one of those, so. Number 27. Learn how to weatherproof your home. Living through cold winters my entire life has made me realize the importance of good insulation and weatherproofing. Not only will your home stay warmer easier, but it can greatly reduce the cost for heating. This applies in the summer also. Air conditioning can take up a lot of energy and drives up your costs. Learning ways to keep cold air in your home and hot air out can reduce the need to use an air conditioner. Number 28. Start container gardening. Okay, so far I've sucked at that, so. If you are in an apartment or even in a small suburban home, you can grow a lot of your own food in containers. I am going to, get certain pots and stuff like that and try again with certain things. So, but I also know that I have to feed them. So, excuse me. When I was a single mom living in an apartment, I actually grew tomatoes in a container on my balcony. You could also grow a lot of plants in containers on your porch, patio, or deck. My husband built a stand for planter boxes on our porch, and we grew all sorts of things right on our porch. Even a house in the city can enjoy a container garden outdoors on a stoop or sidewalk area next to the door. Number 29. Join a local CSA for fresh produce. CSA is the acronym for Community Supported Agricultural Program. And these are great ways to not only support local farmers near you, but also get a wonderful variety of different fresh vegetables and fruits each summer. We have found several CSA programs near us with a lot of great and affordable options. The key in really making it worth it is to make sure that you preserve anything you might get. You can also always share with a friend or family member if you'd like. if there are certain things you may not like. Number 30, make friends with the crock pot. I'll never forget how excited my husband was the first time I made something in a crock pot our first year we were married. Seems silly, but it was really delicious and took really no time to cook. Since then, I'm always researching and trying new things to make in the crock pot. It saves a lot of time, especially with kids. But best of all, most of the slow cooker recipes are very simple. 31, learn how to make your own yogurt. And I do plan on doing that. Learning how to make your own yogurt is surprisingly pretty easy. There are great ways to experiment with different recipes and to make exactly what you want and need. If you are thinking about the possibility of getting a cow or a goat for milk on your homestead eventually, this is definitely something to learn now. Number 32, learn to spin, knit, or crochet. I already know how to crochet, and I'm going to be stocking up on yarn, so. Like sewing, learning to spin your own yarn is a very handy skill to have on a homestead. Spinning can be done anywhere. You do not need a land, and you don't even need a spinning wheel. You can easily start making your own yarn with a $10 drop spindle. If the thought of making your own yarn seems daunting, you can first learn to knit or crochet if you don't do these things already. There are tons of great resources online to learn how to crochet, or you can always ask a friend who knits or crochets to teach you. Number 33, learn to mill your own grains. One of the things I was able to do easily from the suburbs was learn how to mill my own grains. This can save a lot of time and money, and you'll have a nice selection of different grains you can use for breads, baking, and more. You can buy grains in bulk from a number of different places, and then all you need is a good grain mill. Wheat, rice, barley, and rye are all great examples of grains you can mill for baking. If you follow a gluten-free diet, you can save a lot of money by milling your own almond or coconut flour. Number 34, try making your own natural soaps. Making your own soap can be very economical, and you can pick exactly what ingredients you like. There are a number of ways to make soap, and some of your ingredients can even come from your own backyard, such as lavender. You do not need a lot of expensive supplies to get started, and resources for how to make soap are abundant. You can also always check to see if there are any classes offered locally where you live. Number 35. Get creative with repurposing. Many of us who dream of a simple homesteading life really enjoy repurposing things into new uses. We have repurposed a lot of different things around the house. I often save a lot of containers from different things we buy to use for storage and crafts for the kids. I also learned how to paint and refinish furniture. It's less expensive, not to mention rewarding, to take an old worn dresser and repaint it than to buy a new one. Number 36. Make homemade gifts for friends and family. Not all family and friends will appreciate a homemade gift, but many will. Making something homemade has a lot of advantages. It is often more personalized. It can be a lot less expensive and a lot more meaningful. I personally know I cherish the homemade gifts that people make for me. You can make simple recipes or baking mixes, canned goods, plants you have grown, or something craft you've made yourself. All of these things are great things you can give to others, no matter what type of homesteading lifestyle you live. Number 37, learn about beekeeping. If you live in a suburban area, you may be surprised that you can likely keep bees as long as your zoning permits for it. Bees do not require a ton of acreage. 2,000 square feet is plenty of space for 2 hives. I've yet to meet a local beekeeper who is not excited to share everything they know with people, so don't be shy in connecting with local apiary clubs. Number 38, go fishing or learn how to hunt. One of the requirements for our property when we finally get it is that it absolutely must have a creek or pond for fishing. Fish are a great source of food, and you can definitely enjoy a nice relaxing day of fishing for dinner when you know you have a well-stocked pond. If you've never been fishing before, be sure to check with your local state game commission. You most likely will need a license if you do not own your own lake or pond. Fortunately, licenses are inexpensive. Going with an experienced friend is the best way to learn. If fishing isn't your thing, another option is to learn how to hunt. My friend recently started his website, climbtohunt.com, to share what he knows about hunting, so it's a great place for beginners to learn the basics until you have a chance to get out with a friend. If you're ever in a survival situation, it will definitely be good to know how to get food. Number 39. Make some creepy crawly friends. Worms are wonderful for composting and making rich garden soil. We have a worm farm. While having a worm farm might sound crazy, you will definitely want to have some earthworms to help turn compost into fertile soil for your plants. If you go fishing, you can also use these worms as bait if need be. Having your own supply of worms is a great thing to have when fishing, since bait shops can be pricey and hard to find in some areas. Who knows? You may even be able to find local gardeners and bait shops who would like to buy your worms. This is also a great educational project for kids. Number 40, go to a farm show. While some farm shows are elaborate events with all sorts of crazy things happening, others are slower paced. We really enjoy going to at least 2 to 3 farm shows and festivals a year because there's so much to learn at these events. You can see animals, meet a lot of great people, and support local farmers, artisans, and crafters. Number 41. Grow functional, multi-purpose plants. We've found that the best flowers to use for landscaping around our house are the kinds that serve many purposes. For example, every year we grow sunflowers, and the seeds can be great to use for all sorts of recipes. We also like to grow a lot of plants that are useful for the garden as a whole. For example, growing basil next to tomatoes can help your tomato crop do really well. We also like to grow plants that repel mosquitoes because nobody likes mosquitoes. 42. Pick berries. I love picking berries, especially raspberries and our own blueberries. Berries have so many great uses, from pies to jams to just snacking on them straight from the plant. I've had friends grow blueberries in their backyard of a city lot, and we even have a nice blueberry and raspberry patch here in our suburban yard. If you can't grow your own berries, there are a number of pick-your-own farms, or find a friend that has berry bushes. They will welcome the help and likely let you take some home in exchange for helping to pick so many. Whew.
Use all 3 clear.
We're not even a third of the way through this yet, guys.
Where clean you can do get about?
We're getting there.
Yeah.
I'm going to pause this for a second. Alright, sorry guys. It's going to be a long video.
The stream every night?
Number 43. Dry our clothes on a clothesline. When we were kids, clotheslines were common. Everybody always had their laundry and blankets hanging out to dry. Today it's unusual to see it, although I actually am happy when I see our neighbor a few houses down has all of his clothes hanging outside to dry. Now there is a time and a place to have a dryer, mainly if it does nothing but rain for weeks on end and no space indoors. But for the most part, using a clothesline can be done anywhere. You can use a simple rack in your apartment or bathroom. As kids, my mom used to hang clothes all over the dining room to dry. Excuse me. Not only does it save money and a lot of energy, it's also a good way. It is also good exercise and a great way to be outside. Number 44. Create a routine and schedule for getting things done. And I'm starting to work on that. I'm trying to anyway. Having a routine and schedule can really help make you manage time every day more efficiently. You don't have to be totally locked into a schedule. After all, sometimes you do need to be flexible or make some changes after a few weeks or months. But it does really help with making sure you take care of all the chores for the day and get everything on your to-do list closer to being done. The to-do list never gets done. But it's good to make some progress. Number 45. Learn how to ferment your own foods. And I want to do that. I want to start stocking up on the bigger containers of the Redmond's Real Salt for that. And I still need a lot more jars. Many of my friends take a lot of interest in fermenting. I have friends who make everything from sauerkraut to fermented tea, which is kombucha, all from a city kitchen. There are all sorts of fermentable foods you can make easily in just about any kitchen in the world. Many of these are ones even I would be willing to try. Kefir, kombucha, miso, sourdough, pickles, sauerkraut. The possibilities are endless. Many of these are on my to-try list one of these days. I'll be sure to share the experience once we do them. And yes, I am going to try making my own sauerkraut from freshly grown cabbage out of our own garden with taking and chopping the cabbage up and letting it use its own juices instead of anything artificial. I don't like it. It's nasty from the store. Like, I don't even remember how I tried it. It was years and years and years and years ago, but it was gross. So, number 46, but I want to try it with homegrown cabbage. Start a blog to teach others and increase your income. I've been blogging full-time since 2008 and have owned multiple sites. Blogging for me has always been a great way to not only share information with others, but it can even be a source of additional income. Having a website now will also be helpful if you ever decide to start selling items from your homestead, as it can help spread the word about your projects, products, and services. Number 47, shop secondhand. Whenever possible, if I have to buy something, I buy it from a thrift store, flea market, garage sales, estate sales, Craigslist, and local Facebook groups. If I can buy something used for half of what it would cost new, that is a great thing. Estate sales are great for a lot of different things, especially for homesteading supplies. Many times you can find anything from garden tools to tractors to kitchen gadgets and more. Things we get secondhand the most are clothes, furniture, hand tools, games, puzzles, and books. All these things just make a lot more sense to buy used. I also often buy my fabric for various projects by buying old clothes and bed sheets to cut up into what I need. This is much more economical than buying the overpriced fabrics at craft stores. It's true. Number 48, bake your own bread. There is nothing quite like the taste of freshly baked bread. You can either learn to bake your bread in your oven, or you can always get a bread machine. Aaron has a bread machine that was given to him. Well, it was left here. I still like making my own in the oven. You may also want to learn how to make your own yeast starter so you won't ever have to buy yeast again. It is very easy to get started in making sourdough. Number 49, get a cast iron pan. I have 2. I'm working on getting my collection back. Actually, I have that, and then I have the Dutch oven pan. Once you start cooking with cast iron, you won't want to use anything else. Cast iron is very versatile, and a well-seasoned cast iron pan or Dutch oven can be a great thing to have for any time you are cooking. We use cast iron a lot for camping, and it only made sense to use it in the house as well. It can be tricky to get that cast iron pan perfectly seasoned, but once you do, you will be glad you did. Number 50, make candles. And we're gonna start doing that. I'm gonna start actually buying beeswax and start making some candles. My hair's funky. Candles are good to have for a number of reasons. If the electricity goes out, a candle can certainly give you some much-needed light. They are also a great way to light outdoor patio spaces without attracting a lot of bugs or spending electricity. I've made candles with both soy wax and bee wax. You can also easily scent your candles with vanilla, but skip the commercial fragrances. Studies have shown these can be quite toxic for you. 51. Stop using paper products. Another thing we did to reduce how much we use and throw away was to stop using paper products like paper towels, paper plates, and such. Okay, well, we're still pretty bad about that. Obviously, it can save you a lot of money, but it also saves you a lot of unnecessary waste. Making the switch is easy to use regular plates and dish towels on a regular basis. Number 52. Make your own beauty and personal care products. I found that making my own do-it-yourself bath and body products saves a lot of money and is good for you too without any toxic chemicals. And I'll get there. I just need to get my ingredients to do that. Number 53. Stop throwing away so many things. It's hard to believe how much the average family might throw away in a week. It's crazy to think how much is thrown away and wasted. Many of the things I used to throw away, like coffee grounds, are actually great to use in the garden. You can use many things like vegetable peels, potato skins, and more in creating a nice compost for your garden. Today I always think more before I throw something away. Can it be used for something else? Can it be used for compost? Can someone else use this? We also try to avoid buying anything that is disposable when possible. For example, we don't use batteries unless they are the rechargeable kind. 54. Replace prepared and prepackaged foods with foods you make yourself. Chances are, if you look in your pantry right now, you have plenty of foods that are pre-made and out a box. For example, you might have a package of cookies or crackers or cereal. It's easy to start making the switch from store-bought foods to homemade foods. Invest in some good containers and start making your own cookies, crackers, cereal, and more. Yes, you can make your own cereal. And also, more important, stop buying these foods. Little by little, you will be able to replace most of the things you buy now, or even better. Find that you like the stuff you make yourself a lot better. I had my speaker on still. Number 55, make soup. And I did that just last night. Soup is a great way to stretch your grocery budget, and it is healthy for you too. There are many great soup recipes to try that use vegetables and herbs straight from your garden. Number 56, take classes. You'd be surprised how many great classes are offered both online and locally in your own community. Your local library likely often has free classes. You may be able to find specialized classes for topics you are interested in online if none are available locally. You should also check local events calendars and websites and local Facebook pages and events. You never know what might be available. I'm getting ahead of myself. My sinuses are so screwed up. Number 57, learn how to make cheese. Anyway, I will do that too. Will you give me a toothpick? Please and thank you. Making your own cheese might seem daunting at first, but it is actually not that difficult depending on what types of cheese you make. If you are thinking about getting goats or cows, this is definitely one thing you will want to learn to do. I can't use that in my teeth. It'll break apart.
What about I just grabbed it.
I know. Number 58. See how long you can survive without going grocery shopping. If you live in a rural area, going to the grocery store regularly just simply isn't an option. Thank you.
It's not all that.
Why?
Body be washed at all times. Makes the soul doesn't leave the ball.
I understand how it must feel losing someone so close to you so suddenly. Do you have any TA on the red line?
I'm gonna give you another.
Sometimes that store can be more than 40 minutes away. Number 55. Learn how to hunt. And then it says unless you want. Unless you want what? Okay, wait a minute. They had 59 in here twice. Number 60. Practice gratitude and contentment. It's easy for us to want something we don't have yet, but in doing that, sometimes we miss the beauty of the things we do have all around us. Each day I practice gratitude for a couple of minutes. Anytime I do something like have a cup of coffee or even just put sugar in a recipe, I think how thankful I am to have exactly what I need at that moment. Remember that. And Lord, forgive me for getting ahead of myself. 61. Learn how to work on cars and small engines. While some people may not want to have a car on their homestead, in today's world it's still often a necessary requirement. Being able to do your own maintenance and repairs as needed can help you save a lot of time, money, and help you build skills that are useful as a homesteader. Very true. There is also a high demand for repairing small engines for mowers and tractors. Your car also needs regular maintenance for things like oil changes, tires, brakes, and more. By being able to repair these things yourself, you can save a lot of money, and you are not dependent on the busy schedule of a mechanic while you wait for your car. We only have one car as a family, and we're pretty darn proud of that. It has over 187 miles on it and still going strong. No doubt a big part of this has been because my husband has always tried to fix things himself on it whenever possible. My husband is also very good at fixing lawnmowers and riding lawnmowers. By learning how to change spark plugs and carburetors, he has been able to easily keep all of our lawn equipment in good working order. 62. Start collecting seeds now. That's a big one. You can start collecting seeds from many of the foods you eat today to plant for the next season. For example, say you buy a big beautiful zucchini from a farmer's market. Scoop those seeds out, wash them, dry them, and save them to plant the next season. We are always getting a lot of foods we could grow. Be sure if you are collecting seeds from different foods you eat that you know the source. If possible, only do this with foods you know come from the local farmer's market or organic garden. For example, I know I can safely grow garlic that comes from my father-in-law's garden. But I sure wouldn't want to use grocery store garlic for planting, since most of those have been treated with all sorts of chemicals. 62. Check for community initiative projects. Actually, that was 63. Many local areas have a number of community initiative projects that give you a head start in being able to get as close to homesteading as possible. For example, the major city we live near offers residents free lots to rent for community gardens. There are also a lot of development grants available for small businesses and women. It's definitely something worth checking into if you are a city-dwelling homesteader. Start by researching your local county and city websites. Also see if there are any other assistance programs available. Number 64. Learn about solar power. We've been learning a lot about solar power these past few years as we research to prepare for our homestead. Even if you do not plan to have an off-grid homestead that runs solely on solar power, there are a lot of easy ways to implement solar power for cost savings. For example, I use solar power crank flashlights for camping when the power goes out. We have solar-powered lights we use for outdoor lighting. You can learn to bake in a solar oven, sun oven, which is something I do plan on buying. One fascinating website to visit as a modern homesteader is the buildsolar.com website. There are a lot of great ideas for things you can do that only require solar power. Number 65, develop building and woodworking skills. It's never a bad idea to know how to be able to use a lot of basic woodworking tools. You can build furniture, organization and storage, sheds, barns, porches, fences. All of these things can be very helpful skills to have when we're running a homestead. We use a lot of reclaimed wood to build all sorts of things, from raised garden beds to potting benches, even making the trim for our house. Knowing how to use tools like a saw and drill make this very easy to do. You can often take classes to learn woodworking, or simply learn from someone else who is experienced and could use some help. Everybody loves a volunteer. Alright, I'm on number 66, and I'm going to take this through number 75, and then I'm going to stop. I'm going to make that a part 1, and tomorrow I'll do part 2, because it's probably going to take the next 2 hours to upload, because it's over an hour long, guys. I had a feeling this was going to be a long video. Alright, number 66. Explore alternative gardening methods. There are many ways you can start gardening that is not your traditional plot of land with some plants. Hydroponics, aquaponics, vertical gardening, straw bale gardening, and mushroom gardening are all possible things to explore. Some of these things can be done indoors and in small spaces, such as vertical gardening. Others you may want to research just because you never know. That may be something you are very interested in doing. 67. Learn how to dehydrate foods. I have my dehydrator. There are all sorts of possibilities that exist with a dehydrator. I had no idea until I started exploring it myself. Initially, I was interested in learning how to dry herbs. Pretty soon, this expanded into learning how to use a food dehydrator for all sorts of things. For example, you can use a dehydrator for leafy greens like kale, spinach, and more. This makes for a great addition to any smoothie and for some added nutrition. 68. Slowly build up on necessary tools and equipment. If you were to buy every single thing that existed to make homesteading life easier and more fulfilling all at once, you would quickly be bankrupt. Instead, it's a good idea to slowly start collecting the things you know you can use anywhere and will need. For example, there are a lot of kitchen tools that are useful to have to help make it easier to process fresh foods for preservation. You don't need them all at once, however. You can start with just one thing at a time and stick to your budget. 69. Tell your non-homesteading friends and family what kinds of things you need. For every person who starts homesteading, there are plenty of people who want nothing to do with the kinds of things homesteaders love. I found it a great idea to tell friends and family who aren't into homesteading what kinds of things I'm looking for, because it's a great way to get free and cheap things. For example, let's say you have a friend who's cleaning out her grandmother's estate and comes across all of her sewing or crochet supplies. You can use that. Or maybe you have a city friend who loves cooking and is always replacing their current home gadgets with something new. Maybe you have a friend who's always buying clothes and cleaning out their closet to stay up to date on the latest fashion trends. No harm in asking friends to save old clothes that you can reuse for different things. Some people just might be moving or might see stuff for sale in different local sale groups on Facebook or at a thrift store or flea market. If non-homesteading friends know what you are looking for, they just might have something you can use. Number 70. Organize or participate in a community swap meet. Another great way to help people reduce clutter and get useful things they might need is to have a community swap meet. You can do this with a small group of friends at someone's house, or even do this at different clubs and organizations you belong to. This is a great way for you to get rid of things that you don't need and trade it for stuff that will be useful for you. 71. Consider getting a dog. While it may seem like a dog isn't related to traditional farm animals, the right dog could be a great way to get used to caring for an animal if you don't already have pets. As long as you live in a place that allows pets, check with your landlord if you have an apartment. It's a great pet to have. Dogs are good for companionship, safety, security, and protection. Different breeds have different characteristics. So if you're considering getting a dog, you should definitely research the breeds to know what kind is right for you and your family. There are a lot of jobs dogs can do. For example, there are dogs that are good at herding, like sheep, even there are dogs that are good at hunting and tracking. Every dog can be a good watchdog. If you or anyone in your family has special needs, many dogs can be trained to do different tasks. 72. Consider getting a cat. Like dogs, cats have a special place in many homesteaders' hearts. Possibly even literally, as there have been studies such as this one that suggests a link between cats and lower cholesterol levels and lower risk of heart disease. A cat can be a very good thing for helping keep away unwanted mice, rats, snakes, and more. Cats are not easily trained, but there have been quite a lot of studies suggesting cats have a number of benefits for a person's overall health, mood, and wellness. 73. Prepare for what it might be like without electricity. Now, this is a big one, you guys. We take electricity for granted far too often. You never know when extreme weather or other circumstances could cause power failure. Being prepared for what you would do in case of not having power can be very useful for any situation, homesteader, prepper, or not. Because we have always been avid campers, for us not having electricity is mostly just annoying. Our family has successfully gone over a week without electricity and internet many times. Would you believe we actually enjoy it? 74. Reduce screen time. Sadly, spending time staring at a screen is becoming way too commonplace. Some people even spend more time looking at their cell phones than they do talking to people right in front of them. Kids especially can have a hard time balancing time on the computer or watching TV, and it's up to us parents to make sure that our kids know the importance of getting exercise and doing things for real. Because I'm also a full-time blogger, it's hard for me to completely go screen-free. That is one of the main sources of our income. However, I have found that when I am consciously aware of how much time I spend in front of the computer, and it's at a healthy balance, I am way more productive both online and off. Alright, be productive, proactive in your health. I believe it's important to pay attention to your own health and wellness and be as proactive as possible. By making healthy living choices now, you can prevent a lot of health problems later down the road. Now is a great time to kick those bad health habits to the curb. It's also a good time to think about what health concerns you may have based on your family's health history. If you are planning on going off-grid, you may also want to consider how you might deal with different health issues if they would arise. There are a lot of medicinal plants out there. I highly recommend getting the Lost Book of Herbal Remedies. Last but not least, 75, make tea. Many herbs can make for excellent tea, and you don't need to have a 1,000-acre farm to grow your own herbs or enjoy a good cup of tea. Now is a great time to try it. Different herbal teas, and possibly even growing your own herbal tea leaves. Getting a loose tea diffuser is a great way to make tea out of many different types of herbs. Okay, Stop right there.
First guy he took off. And if I remember right, when I went outside.
It's halfway through,
So this one.
because I don't want to make this video over 2 hours long.
where it used
So,
to be, I think.
You sure it was only?
I was halfway through, and I just want to, expand on some of this stuff. Research is so important for any of this stuff. Gardening, like with the herbs, or,
So he didn't have
growing your fruit trees or your fruit bushes or fruit patches, and just all your vegetables, and learning how to preserve that stuff, and just learning how to cook from scratch, and just how to keep your family healthy in healthy ways. So anyway, I'm going to cut this off right here because, again, I don't want to make this over 2 hours long. So I will finish that tomorrow. It's going to be 76 through 150. So that's going to be a thing tomorrow. And I am going to,
for a close male relative. Pictures.
leave comments, you guys. If you guys have suggestions or whatever, leave comments. If you guys are beginning homesteaders, let me know. Talk to me. I want to get to know you guys, and just, reach out, and I will definitely comment back and talk to you guys, and get back with me, you guys, and be sure to check your subscriptions. Always, 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 always check those. And be sure you click that notification bell and click on all so you get all the notifications. And I'm going to get off from here and get this up there because it's going to take probably the next 2 hours to upload. So I will see you guys tomorrow on the next video. And you guys have a good night. Do your research. And take those couple of things, this couple of little things that you can do to start changing your lifestyle to adapt to that homesteading mindset and lifestyle. Alright, I'll see you guys in the next video. You guys do your research, check your subscriptions, and have a good night and get some sleep. Bye, guys.
It's a care program anymore.